Hey guys, it's me again, Orchslayer What Ifs. Where we last left off, let's see, checking. So, Bell was thrown off a cliff after his parents were captured a little bit. He got pretty much, yeah, he was thrown off into like a thing of water. Just splash. As that was going on, his parents were sacrificed. He eventually made his way to a shore of some sort, made his way back, found a dead ranger, or dying ranger, and that's pretty much it. So, where we continue off from here is that, well, from there, is that Bell then ended up going all the way, finding a bunch of different people. Not a bunch of different people, but a little camp of like 12, 10 guys, like a minor gang, you would say. And then after that, he killed them, got some information, and then was shot at by some person with arrows, from what he can tell. So as that continues forward, from the information he's gathered from that little camp, he knows that there's several people, several to like maybe even close to 4 to like 8 gangs are meeting up at this place at a certain area that these people are just so happened invited to. As Troll Slayer, as he simply knows him as, is apparently gathering a large group to go head out and go join the trio, the Hammer, the Tower, and the Black Hands. They're in it for, from what Bell can tell, is that they're in it for the loot. The stuff that they would get from joining these guys. Because none of them seem interested in any materials. Each one is just in their own form of, spreading misery. Be it through torture, through bashing someone's head in, or through sacrifices. So, priorities. But anyways, Bell finds him heading out into a more dense, well, not dense, but more open area with more rocky terrain. Stuff like that area. As one night as he's going through the forest, he suddenly hears a snap. As he turns his head around, trying to see what it was, he almost gets pounced on by a large creature. As, like I said, this is Mordor. So there are these things called caragors, which are cat-like creatures with tougher skin. So that's what he was almost pounced on by, as he had to dodge backwards. He's like, oh shoot. As he's like, oh, caragors. Why is it a caragor? As caragors are the apex predators when it comes to hunting and ambushing. The only thing that they're rivaled by is a Graug, and Bell has been lucky enough to never have found or even seen one of those things. They are titanic creatures of muscle, who could crash and could take out 30 men by themselves easily. But thankfully that isn't here. As Bell takes a stance, ready to drive his sword right into this thing, as he's waiting and waiting as it's looking him dead in the eye. As he takes his stance, as it lunges forward, Bell quickly takes out his smaller sword, gets it just barely under the neck, as he then sort of slips it like from its jaw to the back, as it was just dragged through that part. As with its squirming in pain, Bell jumps on its back and just takes a sword and slams it right through the back of its skull. He's like, oh, that was close. He's like, never seen a caragor this close. Without it, if of course it's being dead, but still. He's like, it's very beautiful, but I don't need anything from it. I got my own rations. So, as he stands up and walks away, saying, maybe some other scavenger will take it. With him, foraging forward, as he checks, keeps awareness to an even higher degree than it was beforehand. With him, like I said, going forward, he eventually starts running into small little outposts, you could say. Small little camps and such of a few people here, a few people there. Nothing too major to, make a big deal about. But what catches his eye one time is when he sees each one of these camps, he had taken care of, since it's only a few people, a few bow and arrow, a few well-placed shots with his bow here and there, pretty much took care of the camps typically before it was able to even move in. So, with him moving closer into these areas, he typically finds himself at the advantage until one day when he comes across an even larger camp. It's not even camp, it's more like it's like more or less a small village at this point. To him, it looks like a barbaric trading town, sort of. There's stalls and such with people selling stuff like meat and the like. But then he sees people in chains. Slavers. It's like, oh, this is not good. So he gets low as he takes some of the, some clothes off one of the people who just finished killing, as he puts it on his person, as their clothes aren't well kept or anything. So he straps them on and heads into town, seeing if he can stir up some information. As he heads in there, it's he's keeping a low profile, not looking at anyone strangely. As it's hey, who are you? He's as he just just keeps walking, he's hey, I'm talking to you. As Bell looks back, what? As he tries to put on a somewhat intimidating quote unquote accent. It's where are you from? He's oh, I just came back from over yonder, as he's making up a story saying, oh really? Where'd you get those clothes? He's yeah, some guy tried to knife me when I was in my sleep. It didn't work, as you could see. It's huh. I knew a fellow with those kinds of clothes, you know. He's oh really? He's yeah. It was a sneaky little bastard, wasn't he? Almost tried to gut me in the back too. But I took care of him. It's oh. Then I guess we have no problems then? It's we got no problems. So as he heads out, trying to not heads out, but heads inward, he actually goes to what they would classify as a bar, or a tavern, as he brings them some things, because he looked on the good guy's person who tried to stab him and found some things. He's what'll this get me? He's yeah, as he gets a pint of ale, as he asks, you heard about troll slayers gathering up some men? As he stops for a second, he's how'd you hear about that? Found a note on a corpse that was attacked by caragor. It's really now? Well, yeah, troll slayers past those mountains. 4 days journey, I heard. Setting up a big storm, planning on joining up with those sadists over that way. Those ones are really messed up. Says that he'll bring plenty of bounty to share with the rest of us. Know what I think? I think he's just planning on keeping all of it for himself and his goons that he's gathering up. He's you don't like them? He's nah, they're fine folk, I would say, by our standards. Not by those pretty white people in their pretty white cloaks and all that. We're in Mordor. Good company is hard to find here. And if your good company classifies as murderers, thieves, and all the other manner, they're the best company that you could ever be with. Just have no conscience about killing anything, at least. He's like, well, I was thinking about joining up. Sounded interesting, you know? He's like, yeah, I see what you mean. Hey, if you want to spend the night, it's more than just gonna be this. As he's like, no thanks. As he says, thanks for the ale. He's like, no problem. Come back anytime. Ain't much else to do around here aside from drink, or go into the fight pits. Earn some money that way. But hey, that's just me. So, get moving forward if you want to live. Also, watch out for some of these alleys. Some of those snake thieves might try to gut ya. Like that one you took those clothes off. He's like, but from the looks of ya, looks like you can handle yourself if you got yourself in a bind. Like, well, as he like spits into a thing, watch yourself. As he goes back to cleaning some glasses and such. Bell's like, as he walks outside the place. As when he walks out, he notices a few people giving some dirty looks. As they sort of showed him that he was, not showed him, yeah, showed him that they were carrying things. Like knives, daggers, and a little thing that you grip in your hand, like in a fist, and you sort of punch people with. Not brass knuckles, I forget what it's exactly called. But anyways, what not Deku, sorry if I've been saying Deku by the way, it's Bell. What Bell does in this sense is that he moves forward, you know? Moves outward to those mountainous areas. He's like, let's go play Troll Slayer a visit, shall we? As he makes his way to Troll Slayer, as it said, it's a 4 days trip. As he's like, hopefully they'll still be there. Could infiltrate their company and then make my way to those trios, slowly but surely. As he has like climbed up, is climbing up a mountain. He's like, this could be a good spot to camp. As he puts down his stuff and starts a fire, he wakes up when he hears, when he wakes up in the middle of the night after having a nightmare, he's like, as he was dreaming about one of the times when he wasn't having a nightmare, but he was dreaming about like one of his memories, as he's like, as we go into his head, what happened was that one day he was being taken out hunting with talion and such to hunt down some easy game. As they were hunting, they came across some tribesmen. As Bell's like, who are those, Dad? He's like, Bell, we are moving backwards. Come. As he takes Bell and is moving him backwards, as a guy's like, where are you off to? He's like, nowhere in particular. As he's like, oh really? Then why are you spying on my lads? As he like sort of pushes on Talion's shoulder, he's like, we do not mean you any harm. Let us pass and no harm shall come to you. He's like, did I just hear that right? Did you just threatening me? As he says that, there's a fine to pass through here. He's like, really now? He's like, yep. How about that shiny new dagger? Or that shiny dagger? Seems equal enough. He's like, as he slowly reaches down and takes it out. Here, it's like, pleasure doing business with you. As when he takes Bell and they start walking away quickly, Bell says, why did you do that, Dad? He's like, there was no time and I would rather not have you stay there while I slay a man. He's like, oh. As that was like one of Bell's first encounters with a dark tribesman and such. As when they like sort of got out of the thing, Bell was like sort of shook up, so they weren't turned home. As he's like, as he gets up, he's like, oh. as he's glad he's grabbed some warmer clothes because the area had to go to is kind of snowy. He's like, oh. As when he gets up, he sees the figure in a cloak with shiny armor. Bell goes to grab his sword, but it's like, you looking for these? It's like, as he like gets ready with a dagger, he like pulls out. He's like, please sit down. What are you really gonna do with that? Bells thinks. He puts it back down. He's like, so you're the last stranger. As Bell looks up at him, he's like, don't act all surprised. I've been watching your progress for a few days. Well, not a few days, but for almost a month. You've impressed me. Tell me, do you know where you're heading? It's like, Troll Slayer. He's like, I know you know that, but why are you heading there? If I can infiltrate them, I could eventually... His plan is to head to the trio. It's like, oh, those two. Yeah, my plan is to head there directly myself, but I thought otherwise. Why not cause enough stuff up here to draw their attention? And it could be helped exponentially more if I have a ranger. You see, from what I heard is that not from what I heard, but from what a spirit tells me, is that you were in particular supposed to be part of a blood sacrifice. And the spirit that the Black Hand houses is not happy with what had occurred that night. So, I'll tell you this. As the stranger sort of lifts up his cloak to meet Bell's eyes, you help me, I help you. And we both get our vengeance. As Bell thinks, sure. What's your name? He's like, Celebrimbor. Yes, Celebrimbor is alive. It's pretty obvious. So, and this Celebrimbor will be alive. With learning this information from him, he's like, so what do we do? It's like, Troll Slayer. Troll Slayer is our target. He's like, what do you mean? Troll Slayer is as powerful as he is for a reason, and is as well known as he is. If we take down Troll Slayer, we have a good ability to draw attention from other powerful figures. If it is the trio, that's lucky. But if it's more, that gives us time to improve upon our thing. As well as the fact that you, the last ranger of the Black Gate, survived. The only reasons why they ever go anywhere is because the Black Hand tells them so. Because the dark creature that has latched onto him says for him to go to when, where, and why. So the fact that you have survived will not please it. He's like, oh, why do you tell me this about Troll Slayer? Why not just take him out yourselves, guys? I am not powerful enough to take on Troll Slayer alone. Not yet. My abilities are lacking, you could say. But the two of us together, we could draw Troll Slayer out and bring an initiative. Force him into a game on our rules. He's like, but doesn't he have a giant warrior host behind him? He's like, yes. So, what we'll start with is by taking down his leaders within inside of it. We do that, we draw him out. We kill him, we disassemble his entire army. Knowing Troll Slayer and his reputation, he's thought ahead, and has already sent messages to the trio. Or, as my people called them, the Kurai-Mono, which means dark ones. I went and looked it up. The Mono means dark ones, and they definitely are dark. And, well, as I was saying, the two of us together, have a chance to bring him down. All we need to do is refine our. All you need to do is refine your techniques a little bit more. It's like, my techniques are fine. It's like they are lacking, as in their own right. But with me, I can teach you more and train you far better than your father could. Your father was exceptional, even for other races. But right now, we need more than just exceptional. We need the best that we can get. And I definitely think you can become better than your father. He's like, what fun? Like, how? He's like, first off, do you know any magic? He's like, no. Why? It's because, well, as you can probably tell, or as I would tell you, I can. And I'll tell you this, you should be able to do it. He's like, why? It's because I can tell you have the ability to use magic. He's like, no, I've never been able to use magic. He's like, have you ever tried? He's like, as Belle thinks, he's like, as he's like, thinks, he's like, no, I haven't. He's like, very well then, let's do a test. As he says, hold out your hand, cup it like this. As he's like, focus. As Belle starts thinking about it, imagine a ball, a very small sphere of energy in your hand. Now, as Celebrimbor is telling Belle and giving him instructions on how to form this little thing. Also, sorry if you guys like hear rubbing or something. I'm trying out like seeing if my mic will work. So yeah, tell me if you guys prefer this or me without using headphones. Anyways, so as we continue, Belle and Celebrimbor work on the whole magic thing, as Belle eventually makes a magic ball. As he throws it, as Celebrimbor says, very well, now do it again. As they work on it for several days, till Belle can conjure up a ball like it's no problem. As when they're not practicing magical, like some form of magical thing like that, they're practicing swordsmanship, and Belle gets his ass handed to him. As this warrior is able to easily defend himself with only his sheath of his sword, as he smacks the swords out of Belle's hand over and over and over and kicks him to the ground, making him all muddy. It's like, I thought you could become better than your father. It seems I was wrong. As he says, come at me, come, like you intend to kill me. As Belle swings his swords, as eventually he's able to, as he steps on the guy's foot, causing him to fall over, Belle then puts his hand on his, puts his foot on his, wrist, as he's like, I win. Are you, as he says, you're sure about that? As the guy has formed a magical short sword in his hand, as it's up at Belle's throat, he's like, do not ever let your guard down. If your enemy, the greatest moments of defeat, the closest when you are defeat, or when you're also closest to winning. As he's like, alright, now back to this. As they get back to magical play, magic training. As he's like, now, as says, instead of a ball, imagine this. As he shows him a triangle, or something that looks similar to a triangle, he's like, what is that? It's a dagger. As then he shows Belle, as he throws it, as the dagger goes straight through a tree. Belle says, oh, see? As he says, see, with this, as he explains the whole details behind quickly summoning a dagger and throwing it as a quick method. He's like, now you try. As Belle goes to training, as over this month, as Troll Slayer is not that far, and what they're doing now is sort of studying the target, as they would say. as Bell learns a bit more about this stranger known as Celebrimbor, as he learns that Celebrimbor comes from a kingdom, or a destroyed kingdom, far away. The Kurai Mono, or as he just refers to them in English, or in normal language, English, I guess, saying that the Dark Ones came. At first, the people of the kingdom thought they were friends bringing gifts, merchants and the like, but they were so wrong. What came upon next was even worse. The skies blackened, crops began to die, cattle and all the like. At first, we thought it was just a season turned bad, but then we realized curses were being placed upon us. By now, you'd probably realize why didn't we move. We tried to, but the hordes of the dark tribesmen, barbarians, and other creatures swarmed around us. The Lord tried to raise his armies, but with no food, no anything. Every army quickly died by starvation. If they didn't starve to death, they would either betray each other and start taking what they could for themselves. Never before had the kingdom been laid so low as to fight each other for scraps. And then they weren't even fighting for scraps. It was saddening, to tell you the truth. In the final days, the Lord took his weapons and his finest men and set off against them, saying that he was offered a challenge or a duel to settle it between them. But when the Lord arrived at the location, he had realized he had been tricked. The Hammer and Tower, as they referred to themselves as, with a horde of at least 500 barbarians behind them, the Lord and his 100 faced off against them. The Lord was no match for the Tower or the Hammer, just barely escaping with his life. His men, in their desperation to keep him alive, sacrificed themselves, holding back this horde. But not even they could keep back such a tide. For each one of those, the warriors, they took down 3 of the others. But the Hammer easily took down 20, and the Tower even more so. They were like demons they were like ghouls and demons given strength. Bell's like, what about the other parts of the kingdom? Those. The Black Hand led his most fanatical followers, those who allowed dark beings to take hold in their bodies, stormed the city gates within an hour of the Lord leaving. And the place was used as a sacrificial hellhole for the people. I alone escaped from there. Don't know what became of the Lord. All I know is that I'm the only one left. As Celebrimbor sort of looks very angry after saying this, he's like, sorry about that. And he's like, no, it's fine. I will use it as fuel for the fire that I will use against the Kurai Mono. As he says it again, Bill says, I understand. Anyways, as they look forward, it's like, hey, look there. Looks like one of their big shots inside the Troll Slayer's forest is moving away. How many men does he have? It's like, looks like he has about 20. Decent portion. Think they're hunting? It's like, most likely. We'll catch them while they're hunting. Do you remember what we've been practicing, Bell? It's like, yes, sir. Yes, Celebrimbor. He's like, you've improved over this month. Let us see it put into action. As Bell's moving forward and such, he says, so, what did you do at your city? He's like, shh, there, right there. Bell's like, sorry, Celebrimbor is like, no problem. As it's like, they see them as it's like, alright, boys, the beasties are gonna be coming out of that hole. When the time is right, we'll strike. Alright. As it's like, here they come. As he like preps his spear, he's like, as a bunch of 4 caragors come running out of the cave. As Bell's like the 20 men versus 4 caragors. This is interesting. As the first man, as the captain, as he would like is known as, preps his spear and shoves it right through one of the first caragors that comes leaping at him. After that, the other men that were waiting there, 5 of them pretty much die within the first few moments as the man's like, remember, surround the fools, like in training. Oh, by the troll slayer, as he immediately takes his spear, jumps on the back of one and slams it right through the spine of it. Bell's like, oh, that's bad. As he's like, remember, focus. I'll use these while you use your normal. As Bell's like, I understand. As he lines up the shot, it's like, because after the end of the battle, there's only 10 dudes left. He's like, cry by the Bakikar shot. You guys fight worse than we babies. Huh? We've been training you all day. He's like, sorry, Captain, you just what? God. Oh, God, rookies. This is just gibberish, by the way. Next time, I'll take you and string you by your doctor foot. As when he does that, the other guys are just like, and the warriors literally all take a step back. He's like, alright, now get these caragor corpses back to camp. Take what you can from these waste of filth here. As they start trying to carry back the bodies, immediately just as 4 arrows go flying. As then for the first dude, one guy's like, huh? As he turns, it goes right through his eye. For another, it immediately hits him the back of the head, and for the other two, a guy's nailed 2 places, and one in the head and one like in the heart. As they all fall over, he's like, "Oh, everyone cover!" They run over. Some guys use the caragors as cover, somewhat. Actually, like, we're being hit. Where are they? I don't know. As then another guy's like, hey, I see one. As he's about to use his arrow, he immediately gets sniped in the head. It's like, ah. As they're looking around, listen. When I say run, run. 3, 2, run. As they start booking it across the field. As they're like, go, 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 go. As then, before he's able to like run away, he gets hit in the knee. As it's like, ugh. It's like, Captain. As it's like, no time. As the rest of them like drag the other guy away. As he's like, get back here, you cowards. When I get back there, I'm gonna rip off your bloody heads. As then he's like, ugh. Stands up, he's like, come on, fight me, you coward. I'll rip out your heart and make you eat blood. Weep blood? Well, yeah, weep blood. So he's gonna make him cry so much it replaces their tears with blood. So, sorry for the explanation story. It's stupid, yes. Anyways, as Bell and Celebrimbor show themselves, he's like, oh. As he's like, oh, when I die, I'll see you guys. And as then, pretty much Celebrimbor takes his knife and plunges it right down into the guy's throat. As he's like, as he just falls limp. Bell says, so what now? He's like, leave the bodies here as a message. As he walks away. We'll start more of your training tomorrow. Understood? He's like, yes, sir. He's like, good. Now come. As they leave for that. And that's where I'm going to be ending this one off at. I hope you all have enjoyed this. Hope you all continue to enjoy this. And again, tell me what you think of me using a mic. And the gibberish speaking. Like, to make up, like, somewhat of a language for this. Because it kind of makes sense to me. Anyways, I hope you all have enjoyed this. Hope you all continue to enjoy this. And I hope you all have a nice day, nice night, nice life.